Angry Andy Reviews.
Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews. Angry Andy Reviews. Angry Andy Reviews. Angry Andy Reviews.
Don't make me destroy you.
Hello and welcome to Angry Andy Reviews, and this is my thoughts on the first two episodes of Star Trek Starfleet Academy.
Alright, Longer. Let's do it.
Now, you'll have to forgive me, I'm a little bit full of a cold, hence why I'm doing it in my slob chair in the living room. This show is an offshoot of Star Trek Discovery. Excuse me, I never finished Star Trek Discovery.
Heresy.
So I don't know how it ends, but I'm aware of things that went on in the show, like the burn. I understand the impact of it. I understand it's 1,000 years in the future after Captain Kirk and all of that jazz, which we'll get into in one particular form. So yeah, I understand the fundamentals of it, and it's interesting for me that they choose to go this route as opposed to making Starfleet Academy, set in the time frame of Strange New Worlds, which for me sounds like a no-brainer. But of course, I guess there is some thought process behind it. What I will say is, this review, I'm not interested at all, whatsoever, in the back and forth that we're seeing in terms of the woke argument. I don't care. I'm not interested in that game at all. I've no stake in that game. I don't know enough, to comment on that game. To me, there were always moments of challenging preconceptions in the original Star Trek show with Uhura and Captain Kirk kissing in the 60s, moral questions, all of that kind of stuff. So I'm not really too focused in, the myriad of different characters and what their agendas are and all this kind of stuff. What I am interested in, and is very fucking important, is the quality of writing, the quality of the dialogue, of the characters, how they come through, and the overall direction and how it comes across. The effects, practical effects that they may have. That's what I'm fucking interested in. So if you're here to hear some lamentations about the woke argument, you're not going to get it here. So sorry in advance for that. But what I will say is, this show is clearly not for me. It's absolutely not for me. I'm not really sure who this show is for. Quite clearly, it is a teen drama, like The OC, or, I don't know, something like that, Dawson's Creek that we used to have back in the day, Friday Night Lights, which I fucking loved for some reason.
Alrighty then.
That kind of stuff, teen drama with love triangles, and oh, I'm not fitting in, and oh, I need friends, but I don't have any friends because I'm different. That kind of stuff, that's what this show is. Whether that works for Star Trek, I'm not convinced. Not in the guise that it's playing at, because weirdly enough, I thought Starfleet was always the best of the best. If you go in Starfleet Academy, you're the best of the best. It's a military, organisation that's bringing in the best of everybody from across the galaxy to be officers and captains of ships going forward. As quite clearly they're trying to play it that the dichotomy's changed because of the burn and all this kind of stuff. Fine, whatever. But still, there's still those questions. But in terms of writing, I'm going to be honest, I think the writing is fucking dreadful.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
I think it's so basic, it's so flippant and fake, it's awful. The dialogue as a result of that is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. It's so... When I'm going back to saying I don't know who this is aimed at, I cannot foresee anybody who's a teenager watching this show at all from the top down. A, because it's Star Trek, so immediately you're losing 75% of all kids out there in this day and age. They don't care. They don't care. They're interested in TikTok. They don't care about Star Trek or science fiction. And then alongside that, then you've got these awkward elements of dialogue to the point where we're saying dick jokes. There's actual dick jokes in this show.
Why?
Episode 2 has a dick joke where he says, the main character says, he's just upset because he's got a tiny little fish dick. In fucking Star Trek, come on.
Don't insult my intelligence.
Really? This is what I was going to say in terms of the 1,000 years in the future. Have we not evolved beyond this crass fucking dialogue? I swear like a trooper.
No shit.
But it's 2026, and I'm a grizzled, aging, sickly old man, as you can tell. So I'm going to swear. Because that is me. It's how I grew up. But in the far future, when the Star Trek has been, the Federation's been there throughout 800 years and then it's gone through a cataclysmic burn, have they not evolved past this type of dialogue? This crassness. We saw it in the original trilogy. In the Next Generation, we're out to better ourselves. Yes, they use swear words in Star Trek. I'm not an idiot. We had Data saying, oh shit, when the Enterprise D is going down on Viridian 3. I'm well aware it works in the moment. What was always great about swear words in Star Trek is they punchline specific elements, whether it be comedy or, highlighting the tension or something like that, because you very rarely hear them. But here, you're hearing them left, right and centre. Shit, crap, dick, we're hearing this. Within 2 episodes, we're hearing nothing but dick ass. Oh my word. Yeah, I think, and in amongst that, the dialogue between all these characters is so forced, and it feels fake. These characters don't feel real. There is potential there. I've got to give it to you. I think Paul Giamatti, he's absolutely chewing scenery. But if I'm correct, I think he's a massive Star Trek fan. So he's quite clearly just having an absolute blast. He's chewing this every bit of scenery you can possibly imagine, but he's having a good time, and it comes out on the screen. Holly Hunter is okay as well. She's doing really well, and she's holding it together as this older 400-year-old Starfleet captain who's seen it all. She's seen before, she's seen the burn, she's seen after the burn. She's trying to piece everything back together. It works there or thereabouts. There's still a few things where I'm like, okay, it's a bit flippant, it's a bit forced, but then all these other characters, they have something there, but I don't think this show has the ability to really get into the nit and gritty of who these characters are, like we'd seen with Worf when he's being pulled away from the Klingon Empire. He's being chastised for joining the Federation. Here, there's a Klingon in this show who quite clearly is somewhat of a pacifist, looking at how to be valiant as opposed to heroic and dying a good death. He's looking at how can he live a good life and transfer that into honour. And we haven't had an episode with him yet. I'm assuming we will do, but we'll get to the bottom of his identity, no doubt. But I don't get the sense that other than maybe one singular episode, that we'll get a fully fleshed out set of characters that can pull this forward and make it feel relevant and earned. I don't think we'll get that. And that's just an assessment from the first 2 episodes. Other than that, I think there's a decent amount of practical effects, but it's all nostalgia based. It's all based on, here's an Easter egg, here's a board full of old captains. I think it's interesting that the captains they highlight on this alumni board are all captains we know of, because they haven't got any fucking captains in 800 years plus. They haven't got any memorable captains that they can draw from themselves. So they're still drawing from Captain Kirk like he's Jesus Christ at this point. It's almost that far away. Fucking hell. So it all feels like there's nothing else behind it. What happened in this 800 years? Well, from my assessment, not very fucking much, really. Did they just fart around for 800 years? Did they got to burn and this point? I don't know. I think it's going so far ahead in the future. It's just as difficult as going so far back in the past, which is what they're probably going to do with Star Wars. You have to be able to have some kind of basis, some grounding, some anchor point, and it all feels a bit too cheesy. And that's what this is. It's cheesy. It's aimed at a specific audience that I'm not that audience. It's not for me, and I'm not sure the audience actually exists.
I don't know.
I'm really not. Like I said, the practical effects for there and thereabouts for the aliens and other creatures looks okay, but then it's counterpointed by some really dreadful CGI sets that are so quite obviously fake and green screen or blue screened or built in the fucking volume or whatever the fuck they were using, and it just looks awful at times. There's floating robots that are so quite clearly, CGI. They're so shiny and bright and cheerful. Yeah, but it's 1,000 years in the future. They might well be. Well, it still has to look real. It still has to look real. It's so fucking shiny. You may as well be in the IKEA section where they've got lights on everywhere. It's the light section in IKEA. It's so fucking bright and shiny. You can't look anywhere without getting a fucking migraine. And coming towards the end of the second episode, the first episode is all action. The ship goes in somewhere for some stupid reason, gets caught. The ship gets attacked. No one dies because we're not allowed to kill tweens because it's a tween show. So nobody dies, even though the amount of damage the ship takes should take at least some people out. They're untrained students, for fuck's sake. All they do is go and hide in their rooms, and at one point a damage assessment is the heavy damage has been taken to some rooms where they're all sleeping. So great. I guess it wasn't really that much damage, was there? And then we get to Starfleet. The ship lands. It's all beautiful. And then the second episode is about the Betazoids being brought back into the fold. And it's a baffling episode. It's a baffling episode. They force the students to watch a debate about the Betazoids, refusing to rejoin Starfleet, rejoin the Federation, and it's just... there's just tween dialogue and tween plots. There's a love triangle that's developing, and oh my god. Yeah. Fundamentally, it's not for me. And I won't be carrying on with the series, I don't think, at this point, because I got nothing from it. It doesn't speak to me. It doesn't speak to me. These characters don't speak to me. The great thing about Star Trek, the glory about Star Trek for me is that there was always something that would speak to me. Not every episode's brilliant, and I'm not saying every episode's brilliant. Some of the original series episodes are absolute fucking garbage. The wank. The first series of The Next Generation is dreadful. It's a wonder that show managed to survive the first season into the second season at all. And there's some god-awful episodes of Voyager as well. But there was always something that would speak to me. This new Trek as it is doesn't speak to me at all. It doesn't speak to me whatsoever. And it's only very recently that I've gone back and watched Generations and First Contact, and there's such a huge ocean of a shift from what that Star Trek is to this Star Trek that it really isn't. It isn't for me anymore. So there you go. What you're supposed to do with that? Well, I guess you just move on, don't you? So I'm going to move on from this review and leave that there. A bit of a waffling one, not really in depth too much. I mean, if you want to watch it, by all means, go ahead and watch it. But it's just glaringly obvious that it's really not Star Trek for old fans at all at this point. fair play for those of you that are managing to stick out, or doing it for other reasons. Fair play. If you can look past a lot of what this show is and who it's meant for, then fine. You'll find some enjoyment, just in the same way that people found enjoyment in Lower Decks, which again wasn't really for me either. But there you go. This review's over. I'm rambling, probably because I'm really horribly ill. But there you go. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you are watching Star Trek Starfleet Academy, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Are you an old hat Star Trek fan? Are you a new Star Trek fan? How did you get into it? That's what I'm interested in with new Star Trek. How did you get into it in the first place? Where did it come from? So let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.